Gentlemen, with that, I'm going to ask you if you have a current shout out and or rant that you'd like to end with, and we'll take the same order again, starting with Mr. Armstrong.
I'm going to shout out to cookie claimants. Now, what do I mean by that? In the UK, there's a cottage industry has grown up. There are many complaints about the use of cookies on websites. And we started off with one enterprising individual writing to hundreds of organizations demanding a payment because of his fear that cookies were being used to share his browsing habits with the US security services. And he effectively said that he would somehow get over his concerns about being lied on by the US security services for £750 in cash. And we then saw almost identical letters from another individual who had been connected with all sorts of claims before for financial products mis-selling and so on. And then this week, I've seen my first letter from yet another cookie claimant following the same model. Now, traditionally, of course, people slow down in the summer, but not cookie claimants. So well done for their forward working right through the summer vacation to make sure that there is no ambulance yet unchased.
Mr. Kelly, how are you going to top that one?
I have two items I'm going to try and sneak in. One, very quickly, a mini rant against Republicans in Congress about the search warrant executed at Mar-a-Lago. A kick out of Republicans demanding to see the affidavit that led to the authorization. That, guys, this should not be done. We should not be releasing warrants or affidavits until there's an actual charging statement or indictment. But B, Republicans had said, we want to see that, and maybe if we can't see it released, maybe we should have it in a confidential thing. And clearly, since your leader is so cavalier confidentiality, I don't even know what a Republican is for Republicans. Could be like the parking lot in a Shoney's off of I-4 down in Florida, maybe. No.
On a Four Seasons Garden Center, maybe.
Potentially. But actually, I did more of a shout out also in the political realm to John Fetterman, the Democratic candidate for Pennsylvania Senate, not necessarily because I do or don't endorse him. I am not endorsing him. I just want to say he's got showing down this year. His campaigning style is hilarious. And case in point is this mess that Dr. Oz stepped in with the crudité scandal. He went around the restaurant or the supermarket that I actually think is named Wegner's, but made that entire big hat of what is or isn't crudité. And Fetterman jumped on it with this working class hero angle that really resonates. I have to admit, I myself, I always thought crudité was some kind of cheese plant, so I didn't know what crudité was. B, who actually puts asparagus and together like Dr. Oz did. C, just Fetterman roasting him, so to speak, on Twitter and online about how he's out of touch. Could have just bought a veggie and cheese dip or a veggie dip platter that Wegner's actually sells for $7.99, according to Wegner's itself. But I think that the way Fetterman just has got this working class thing down pat, I don't know if he is or isn't a working class hero in Pennsylvania. Looks the part, to talk the part, seems to have everything down pat to sell it. The way that he is masterful, Dr. Oz, as this carpetbagger, wealthy, clueless fool from New Jersey who can't even put together a veggie plate. Bravo, man. This is how you actually make politics interesting to watch. So like I said, I think Fetterman has got the best show going, and what politics is about. It's about selling a message that resonates with the voters, and certainly Oz doesn't have it. Fetterman does.
All right. Mr. Marks, you have something about Philly sports, or you want to take a pass?
Me?
Yeah,
Philly
you.
Sport. No, I got a rant and a shout out real quick.
All right.
So, by the way, Steven Van Zandt also is all over Dr. Oz. He said, come home to New Jersey where you belong. So it's funny as to what's going on. I don't know if you've seen those commercials, but they're playing. I don't know if you want to come home to New Jersey or not. I live here, but whatever. Anyway, I have a rant that I've been ranting about for years and years, and this is. I think you guys will pick up on this pretty quickly. I think the audience will pick up on it pretty quickly. I applauded Gensler, I think, a couple of weeks ago for his ability to try to do something more with Sarbanes-Oxley. So if we're going to get that specific, I'm going to start to rant. Section 307, up the ladder reporting, noisy withdrawals. If you're going to let the lawyers get the hell out of there and say something, please add the chief compliance officers and the chief audit executives. Make it an 8K event, please, so everybody knows who's investing in the company that there's really bad stuff going on. If in all your enforcement releases that you write and you talk about control environment, internal controls, and hallmarks of a great compliance program, but yet, if the compliance officer silently leaves the organization for whatever reason, or the director of internal audit silently leaves the organization for some unknown reason, don't you think the investors should know about that? Shouldn't there be some more digging there? I think so. So I'm ranting right now. Rewrite the damn thing. Thank you. Second thing is, I don't know if you guys saw this week, but there's this kid at Stanford who made $110 million by buying Bed Bath & Beyond. Jake Freeman. Congratulations. I can't wait for the SEC investigation. I'm out.
Jay Rosen.
I'm gonna keep my chips for the next round and send it to Tom Fox, the straw that stirs the drink. So what's in your mind, Tom?
Then you're the last person because this is the last round after me. I am going to give a cautionary tale. And first, I'm going to start out with a shout out to Tim Harford, who has the podcast Cautionary Tales, for which I purloined the title of my shout out and or rant. And my cautionary tale is a cautionary tale of corporate governance. It's around the formerly beloved Texas institution, now known as Bluebell Ice Cream. In 2015, Bluebell Ice Cream had a listeria outbreak. They didn't tell anybody about it. The state found out about it. The feds found out about it. And then they made Bluebell tell everybody about it, kicking and screaming. As you might guess, this led to an investigation and a fine and penalty. It also led to some very catastrophic consequences for the company. First of all, the company lost so much money because they had to shut down all of their processing plants for so long that they ended up having to basically sell themselves to private equity. They created an adjunct to a corporate governance doctrine called the Caremark Doctrine, which says if you're a food product company, you damn well better have a food product risk management committee at the board level and actually monitoring that issue if you're a food product company. But it didn't end there, because the private equity company eventually forced the grandson of the founder of Bluebell Ice Cream, grandson being Paul Cruz, out. So he loses his position as CEO. He loses his position as the board. Bluebell is now perceived to have a very much less flavorful taste, and their sales have gone down. And probably because, as private equity does, they tend to cut back on extravagant spending of things like top-level ingredients for ice cream. So the company extraordinarily tarnished reputation, but it doesn't end there, because this month, Paul Cruz went to trial individually on criminal charges by the federal government for releasing information about the listeria outbreak way back in 2015. Now, my shout out goes to Chris Flood, the defense lawyer who didn't exactly get him off the hook, but had a 10-2 in his favor mistrial for acquittal. So shout out to Chris, a longtime friend. So Mr. Cruz escaped a criminal sentence of up to 20 years. But his actions and the poor corporate governance back in 2015 have essentially changed and wrecked Bluebell as an institution in the state of Texas and as the number 3 ice cream maker in the United States. So for those of you who don't think corporate governance matters, corporate governance does matter. And it matters at the board level. It matters in your policies and procedures. It matters in your whistleblowers, and it matters on how you, as Mr. Marks continually reminds us, triage a whistleblower complaint and then investigate it and then remediate it after investigation. So all of the things we talked about today in this shout outs and rants edition of Everything Compliance, in terms of our lessons learned, it seemed to me to be crystallized with Bluebell ice cream. So that's my cautionary tale. Shout out to Tim Harford for the Cautionary Tales podcast. It's great if you've never listened to it. And Mr. Rosen, have you been now able to formulate your shout out and ending rant and taking us home batting cleanup today?
All right. It's a lot of pressure on me. Looks like the result could be the same result that ESPN just had. They lost college football rights to a consortium of Fox, of NBC, and CBS. And of course, some of this won't take effect into 2023, but it's sometimes good to see a big guy get kicked in the nuts every once in a while. Get an ice pack in Connecticut, and you can take it on.
That may be the greatest ending. I'm not sure if that's a shout out or a rant, but the greatest ender of any of our episodes. So perhaps it's a good thing Karen Woody wasn't with us today. Gentlemen, that was great. Thanks to everybody for putting the time and effort in. And I can't wait to see what we come up with next time.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you,
care,
Tom.
everyone.